The committee on parole is reconvening at 12:43 p.m. With the offender, please introduce yourselves and give your Department of Correction ID.
Jessie Ford, DOC ID 629178.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. My name is Alvin Roche. To my left is Mrs. Bonnie Jackson, and to my right is Mrs. Pearl Wise. We'll propose your parole panel this afternoon. Let me explain the process to you. I will read some information into the record. Once that information is in the record, we'll conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we allow Warden Bickham to make comments, remarks, and observations. We have one speaker, the victim, Mr. Broussard, and would like to make a statement. After that, we'll allow you to make a brief statement before we vote. Do you understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ford, your DOC number is 629-178. You're currently 48 years old. You are a third felony offender. Your offenses: theft of a motor vehicle in Allen Parish, and you were sentenced on February 8, 2022, only 12 months ago. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
And you were sentenced to 8 years, and your current parole date is September 19th, 2023. Your good time date is March 9th, 2024, and your return date is September 20th, 2029. Is all that information correct? Is that information correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, I see where you burned 120 hours of good time. You realize if you take good time classes and accumulate another 240 hours, 240 days of good time, your good time date would probably supersede your parole date. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently in any good time classes now?
I am currently in nurturing parenting, which will earn me another 60 days good time. I've taken the reentry course twice. I took it in Winsboro before coming here, and I took it again here. So I didn't get credit for the first time because I was 1 week away from completing it before I arrived here at Dixon. So I retook the class to earn the 120 credit here.
But you do realize that if you earned another 240 hours before September of this year, which is your parole date, your good time date will supersede your parole date.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Jackson has been assigned your case. Would you please answer Ms. Jackson's questions?
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Ford. I just have a few questions. How old are you?
I'm 48 years old, ma'am.
And how much time have you actually served on this charge? How long were you in jail before you got sentenced? So how much time have you actually served?
I've been incarcerated since March of 2021, with the exception of being bonded out for 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm still incarcerated today. So that adds up to about 24 months.
And so 2 years on a sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
It's kind of surprising to see somebody your age charged with theft of a motor vehicle. You know, at some point in time, people outgrow criminality.
Yes, ma'am.
Why haven't you outgrown it? What's going on with you that caused you to commit this crime?
This was a bad decision on my part. I had recently lost my father, and I had a wife commit suicide. And at the hand of another woman, I was dropped off in an area that I didn't know where I was at. I basically tried to hitch a ride, and then I start out walking. I came to a home that had a truck in the front yard. I knocked on the door, no one answered. I went out to the truck and the door was unlocked. I got in and the keys were in the vehicle. I started the vehicle, went down the road. Less than a mile, I stopped the vehicle and I just knew this wasn't me. I didn't know what to do at that point, but I had no more time to think about it before I was arrested. So it was just a bad mistake on my part. I've since then learned that this was a horrible decision, and it affected not only the victim, but her family, as well as the community in a negative way. And I'm horribly troubled. I'm embarrassed, humiliated that I brought this kind of shame on my family. And I have a son and daughter who I've raised complete opposition of any of this. My daughter just graduated college. My son's about to enter into college. It's just been a horrible ordeal. I regret it.
On the night that you committed this offense, were you under the influence of drugs or alcohol? Had you
No,
been
ma'am.
drinking?
No, ma'am, I was severely depressed and just
Okay.
made a poor
And-
decision.
And when did your wife, take her life?
She took her life back in February
Of what year?
of that year, 2021.
Were you employed back then before your arrest?
I had previously been employed at Fort Polk. I have a degree in information technology. I was a systems engineer there. But yes, I had basically given up all hope on anything. I had stopped working, quit my job. Our relationship was in trouble. She was depressed. She had attempted to commit suicide several times before that, and so I had left her. It wasn't because of me that she committed suicide. She was having problems with her ex-husband, and he and her were having custody battles over their children.
Now, I see that you have been in a transitional work release program, but you were removed from that in June of 22. Tell us about that.
I basically was asked to pack up my things and was transferred. And I really didn't know why I was being transferred at the time. I didn't learn until last week with the warden Bickham telling me that it was for refusal of a drug test, which I've never refused a drug test, never failed a drug test. So I really don't understand what happened there.
One Bickham, can you add anything to that?
I can, it's just in my notation when I do my interviews with them prior to this. I was going through my notes and it just happens to be written, and I can't remember where, a little notation somewhere that said was in work release for refusal to do a drug screen. And I asked him about it and he wasn't aware of it, but that was all. It was just a notation in some document here.
To the best of my knowledge, I've had no write-ups. I've been a trustee. I've tried to be a model inmate while I've been in here, respect authority. Truck causes little problem for the guards as possible, make their job no harder than it has to be.
Yeah, it's just a notation when we screened him for trustee. That's what it was. I found it. When we screened him for trustee, there's a little notation from our classification department that said refused drug test at work release 6/8/22. But that's the extent of what I have in front of me.
And where were you working in work release?
I was working in Baton Rouge at Southside Produce.
Okay, and how long had you been in work release?
I had been in work release for 3 months. I enjoyed the work. I enjoyed my job.
If you were to be successful, Mr. Ford, what's going to be different when you get?
I've learned over the past couple of years, basically to be positive, keep an optimistic view of the world and make better decisions, and how one small decision can impact the community you're around and everybody that's involved. Yeah. When I get out, I intend to go stay with my mother's, which I would live with her, and she was going to support me. I have a neighbor that has a farm that's going to allow me to do some carpentry work and electrical work there. And while I search for more gainful employment, regular employment. So I did inherit a home from my father who passed away, but it takes money to get it in order, and I've got to get electricity put in. I did have a stepmother living there, which she basically,
That's fine, Mr. Brown, that many things.
yes, ma'am.
Where are your children?
My children live in Maryland, where my first wife lives.
And I'm just looking at your criminal history, you've got quite a few arrests on your record, Mr. Ford, and that's concerning to me. Warren Bickham, is there anything else you'd like to add? I know he probably hadn't been there that long, but.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Miss Jackson. But the short time he's been here since December of 21. So he's he's been here since September 22. But he hadn't had any write-ups since he's been here. And that's pretty much, I don't know a whole lot about him, but he's been staying out of trouble and he's doing a good job since he's been here.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all I have, Mr.
Mr. Wise?
The only thing I had in my notes too, you got a history of a lot of thefts, and there was a burning, some kind of explain your criminal history. Who were you? What was going on in your life?
In Maryland, I had a misdemeanor that I pled to for a burning. It was a misdemeanor charge. When I decided to move back home to Louisiana, they wrote that in the computer system as a felony. So I really didn't have a felony.
Okay.
So this isn't my third felon. This is my second felon.
Okay. But what about all the thefts though? That you've, this is the only time that you stole a vehicle.
Right. The only other theft I had was, it was a burglary, and it was at a girlfriend's sister's house that I'd went in there, and I took a bag of chips with me, and she was angry with me. So I really wasn't to thief for money and financial gain.
Oh, okay. So it was like relationship things, that your criminal history is people
Yes,
you were in relationship with, and they had some misunderstandings and the police were called.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to put words in your mouth now. You tell me.
That is true. I've had
All right.
relationship issues.
So what?
Relationship issues in my past. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. That's all I had, Jim.
Mr. Ford, I will be very honest with you. You are downplaying criminal history. You're a third felon offender. Your first arrest was in 1991, DWI, second degree arson, malicious burning, second degree, criminal trespassing, unlawful entry. It goes on and on. 2016, unauthorized use of a vehicle. 2017, yeah. 2018, unauthorized of a movement. Disturbing the peace, resisting the officer. Disturbing the peace, criminal trespassing. You had a warrant in Allen Parish for burglary. Simple burglary, an inhabited dwelling, yeah. It goes on and on.
Yes, sir.
You are downplaying your criminal history.
Yes, sir. Those are charges. I was not convicted of many of those.
But you are a third felony offender. According to your master record.
According to the master record, because of the input from my probation transfer from Maryland.
Yeah, okay. And according to your master record, you have a disciplinary write-up on June of 2022.
I wasn't aware that I have a write-up.
It's on your master record. If you look at your master record, it says that you were in East Baton Rouge Transitional Work Program on May 19th, 2022. And then on 6/8/22, disciplinary write-up, and you were sent to Franklin Parish because of that disciplinary write-up. So don't downplay, tell us the truth, okay? Now,
Yes,
right, Warden Bickham, do you have anything to add?
No, so I was looking for that. I don't have that in my document, but I got my records office here. We're gonna look for it later and see. I was just looking for that particular document.
On
Yeah,
the master record, amended on 11/29/22. There's a disciplinary write-up in East Baton Rouge work release.
Okay. All
And
right.
then he was transferred to Franklin after that disciplinary write-up.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna hear from Pharrell Broussard, the victim. Mrs. Broussard, would you open your mic and give us a statement? You have 3 minutes.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Broussard.
Okay. This is my first time ever having to deal with this kind of stuff. My daughter, which is a minor, I did not have her come here because she had to go to school. And I didn't want her to be traumatized again because she woke me up to this. And as Mr. Ford said, yes, I did have a key in my truck, but that was the time we came back from hurricane stuff and I had forgot I had my extra key in there. But that's beside the point. He came onto my property. He had to been on something because he told the policeman that some Travis guy told him to come take the truck. And I've tried to stay watching where he's been because me and my daughter have really been on edge now. I mean, I know it's been almost 2 years, but it's still scary because this has never happened to us before, ever. And I saw where back in September of 21, he went to Beauregard jail for entering somebody's house. So, I mean, and he's not a first time offender. Like he's done other things, you know, and I don't think he's had enough time personally to get out. He had to have been on something. He said he wasn't, but I'm telling you, he had to have been on something because I had my other key in the house and I kept pressing keys because I didn't know what to do. And he just nonchalantly drove out. And my daughter was with 911 at the time too. And Kinder Police Department was awesome. Within 10 minutes, they had him because he was just right down the road at our dump site. So he had dirt all in my truck and he had some other stuff that he had loaded up inside of my truck. And it was some kind of women's clothes or something. I don't know. I didn't dig through it because I was scared too. Anyways, I don't know what else to say. Like,
Thank you, Ms. Broussard.
thank y'all so much for listening.
And we appreciate your participation.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much.
Mr. Ford, Would you like to
Yes,
make
sir.
a brief closing statement?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, yes, sir. I want to just apologize to Miss Farrell Broussard. I really didn't mean to cause her that scare. Like I said, I was going through a hard time. The charges that were brought on me in Beauregard was brought by my stepmother for breaking into the house that my father left me. She lied to the police and told them that he had left her the house. She has since forth moved out. So, I mean, I have my own home to go to at this time, and those charges were dismissed.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Mrs. Jackson,
All right, Mr. Ford, you know, I'm concerned about you. You've got a pretty extensive arrest record, and according to our calculations, you are a third offender. You have a good time date, early in 24. Mr. Roche said would move up with more programming, which I actually think that you could benefit from. So my vote today is to deny because of the past criminal history and the proximity to your good time. Good luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wise,
Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Broussard, I just want to appreciate you and your 14-year-old daughter for being brave and courageous to show up today and participate. You're doing a lot better than you think you really are. Mr. Ford, I just think that you have a reason for it. You really do. I think you need some time of reflection, really some time to just really pause and just take account. It's my accountability. So I concur with my colleague. My vote isn't denied. I believe that you need mental health evaluation for your release, and you need more programs. The impact of the crime on the victim, for those reasons, I am denying.
Thank you, ma'am.
and good. When, I got it, so.
Have you voted? No, you did.
So,
That's okay.
Mr. Ford, you have received 2 votes to deny your request based upon victim opposition, based upon prior criminal history, based upon a lack of programs in proximity good time date. I also deny your request. You have received 3 votes to deny your request. Your request for early release has been denied. Please enroll in some programs, and your good time date almost coincide with your parole date. Good luck.
Thank you.